What's going on YouTube? Mr. Wheels here once again, welcoming you to another edition of Sports Talk. Alright, so I'm sure you've heard by now, Mike Babcock, the new head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, 8 years, $50 million overall, works out to $6.25 million per season. As always guys, I'm going to ask you to give this video a like. I'm sure all you Leaf fans like that, so please give this video a like. Before I get into talking about what I want to talk about, remember you can follow me on Twitter at Sledgehead86 and stop by Facebook and give my Facebook fan page a like, Mr. Wheels86. Alright, so Mike Babcock, now the highest paid coach in the NHL, was dubbed the most high profile free agent of this offseason. While the waiting's over, it was over pretty quickly. It's been speculated the entire season, and I've waited up until now to talk about it, that Mike Babcock was going to the Leafs. I'm sure you've seen that this is a rant video, not because Mike Babcock went to the Leafs. I was smart enough to know that he was going there, and I wasn't going to dispute that. I would have liked to have seen him gone maybe to Buffalo. I knew he probably wasn't going to stay in Detroit. But what this is a rant about is, and it's already out there that this should not hinder the Leafs' rebuilding aspirations. In fact, it should reinforce it because, I listened to Darren Dreger break this story and talking about, Dion Phaneuf was almost acquired by the Red Wings at the trade deadline to reunite him with Mike Babcock. Well, to me, reuniting Babcock and Phaneuf isn't going to make Phaneuf a better player. In order for Phaneuf to fit into the Leafs' plan, in my opinion, he would have to. They would have to go out and acquire somebody, another, minimum top 4 defenseman who can play big minutes and take the pressure off of Phaneuf. Because I think when you look at the way Phaneuf plays and the amount of minutes he's played under Randy Carlyle and Peter Horacek, it was his style of play, and those big shoulder pads he wears that slow him down that he didn't wear in Calgary. But it's also, he was playing too much. And for the Leafs to go out and get somebody else, that doesn't go along with their rebuilding plan. Let's understand what rebuilding means. It's now that Shanahan and Babcock are there, that's basically a mini model of what the Detroit Red Wings do. It means the Leafs are going to have to draft well, something that they don't have a history of doing very well. Don't believe me, go and look up their draft history. It's not good. And not giving away draft picks. I mean, we know about the Kessel trade, and there's countless other ones that they've just given away draft picks, not gotten good players in return, and these draft picks have turned out to be guys like Joe Pavelski is one that rings a bell. I know they could have had him, and countless other players that would have helped the Leafs, moving forward and maybe not be in this position where they have to rebuild for 3 to 4 years, even having Babcock, because that's the other thing. That's another reason why this video is a rant. Babcock's got $50 million, $6.5 million a season, but the speculation is he wanted a deal. The way that it needed to be done was he wanted a deal that he was still going to be around when they got over this 3 to 4 year hump that is projected that they're going to suck for another 3 to 4 years. Well, that's fine. That's part of what rebuilding brings to a franchise. But I question whether having Babcock and Shanahan there is really going to change the culture on the Leafs. I know Leaf fans believe it can, and It probably can if they do it right, but this is the Leafs we're talking about. Let's remember that it's been 40 plus years, probably closer to 50 years now, since they've won a Stanley Cup. 1967. That's something like 48 years or something like that. So that Stanley Cup drought is pushing 50. Now, I mean, the Red Wings went 55 years without winning a cup. I believe the Rangers went 50 years. So the Leafs, I mean, they're not, I mean, it could be worse for the Leafs. But the fact of the matter is that along with the Stanley Cup drought, the Leafs have just done a lot of things bad. And drafting and developing players is at the forefront of that. And I just really wonder whether bringing in a high-profile coach like Babcock is really going to be what the Leafs need. I mean, they need full-scale personnel changes throughout the organization, and they're starting to do that. I mean, changes, I'm not ignorant to the changes that they've started to make already. I'm glad Dave Notice is gone. Now the next step is they need to bring in a GM that Babcock can work with quite well. And then after that, they need to get rid of Castle. They basically need to get rid of their core and just try to start over from scratch. The only untouchable I would say they have is Morgan Riley. And I mean, because the thing is that it's not so much that Toronto and their fans are bad. There's a lot of pressure to play in Toronto. So the Leafs have guys now like Nazem Kadri and Tyler Bozak and Kessel and Phaneuf. Those players would be great elsewhere when they don't have the pressure to be the guy and perform at such a high level and produce, you know, guys like Matt Sundin and Doug Gilmour were able to produce at such a high level because they were high caliber players, and you know, it wasn't such a stretch for them. But for the core that the Leafs have now, it is a stretch, and for them to perform at a level where we can expect them to, you know, be better than or surpass their potential and help the Leafs win, they really need to get rid of their core. I really do believe that. And most importantly, guys, I want to know what you guys think. I hope you've stayed with me these past 8 minutes and not just shut me off. Please comment. Please let me know what you think about this, because, I mean, now that the speculation is over and we know where Mike Babcock has ended up, I want to know what people think. Is this a good move for the Leafs? I've told you what I think they need to do moving forward, and that is continue to make changes, continue to get rid of their core players that didn't help them this season, that didn't pull their socks up when Randy Carlyle was fired. You know, so I think, you know, you might as well continue to blow it up and try to, you know, put a framework in, at least start to put a different framework in for next season. But I want to know what you guys think. So please, once again, I'd ask you to please give this video a like. Please subscribe to my channel. I can really use the support. Hit that subscribe button right there. And be sure to check out some of my other videos. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I really enjoy making them. I'm not, I want to say once again, I'm not happy that Babcock's in Toronto because I'm a Detroit fan. But, you know, it is what it is. So, that's all I have for right now, and I'll see you next time.